afternoon. We are going to read chapters 5 and 6 right now. Chapter 5. Oops, my mistake. We are a little ahead of ourselves. Here we go. Chapter 5. The Golden Tickets. If you remember, the last thing that we saw happen was Charlie's father came home with the newspaper and he said, Look, there's going to be a contest to open the factory to let people into Willy Wonka's factory. I'll go ahead and pull this up for you. There we go. Now we should be good. All right. The golden tickets. You mean people are actually going to be allowed to go inside the factory? Cried Grandpa Joe. Read us what it says, quickly. All right, said Mr. Bucket, smoothing out the newspaper. Listen. Evening Bulletin. Mr. Willy Wonka, the candy-making genius whom nobody has seen for the last 10 years, sent out the following notice today. I, Willy Wonka, have decided to allow 5 children, just 5, mind you, and no more, to visit my factory this year. These lucky 5 will be shown around personally by me, and they will be allowed to see all the secrets and the magic of my factory. Then, at the end of the tour, as a special present, all of them will be given enough chocolates and candies to last them for the rest of their lives. So watch out for the golden tickets. 5 golden tickets have been printed on golden paper, and these 5 golden tickets have been hidden underneath the ordinary wrapping paper of 5 ordinary candy bars. These 5 candy bars may be anywhere, in any shop, in any street, in any town, in any country, in the world, upon any counter where Wonka's candies are sold. And these 5 lucky finders of these 5 golden tickets are the only ones who will be allowed to visit my factory and see what it's like now inside. Good luck to you all, and happy hunting. Signed, Willy Wonka. The man's dotty, muttered Grandma Josephine. He's brilliant, cried Grandpa Joe. He's a magician. Just imagine what will happen now. The whole world will be searching for those golden tickets. Everyone will be buying Wonka's candy bars in the hope of finding one. He'll sell more than ever before. Oh, how exciting it would be to find one. And all the chocolate and candies that you could eat for the rest of your life. Free, said Grandpa George. Just imagine that. They'd have to deliver them in a truck, said Grandma Georgina. Ugh, it makes me quite ill to think of it, said Grandma Josephine. Nonsense, said Grandpa Joe. Wouldn't it be something, Charlie, to open a bar of candy and see a golden ticket glistening inside? Certainly would, Grandpa. But there isn't a hope, Charlie said sadly. I only get 1 bar a year. You never know, darling, said Grandma Georgina. It's your birthday next week. You have as much a chance as anybody else. I'm afraid that simply isn't true, said Grandpa George. The kids who are going to find the golden tickets are the ones who can afford to buy candy bars every day. Sorry, got ahead of it. Our Charlie gets only 1 a year. There isn't a hope. Chapter 6. The First 2 Finders. The very next day, the first golden ticket was found. The finder was a boy called Augustus Gloop, and Mr. Bucket's evening newspaper carried a large picture of him on the front page. The picture showed a 9-year-old boy who was so enormously fat He looked as though he had been blown up with a powerful pump. Great flabby folds of fat bulged out from every part of his body, and his face was a monstrous ball of dough, with two small, greedy, curranty eyes peering out upon the world. The town in which Augustus Gloop lived, the newspaper said, had gone wild with excitement over their hero. Flags were flying from all the windows. Children had been giving a holiday from school, and a parade was being organized in honor of the famous youth. I just knew Augustus would find the golden ticket, his mother had told the newspaper. He eats so many candy bars a day that it's almost impossible for him not to find one. Eating is his hobby, you know. That's all he's interested in. But still, that's better than being a hooligan and shooting off zip guns, you know, and things like that in his spare time, isn't it? And what I always say is, he wouldn't go on eating like he does unless he needed nourishment, would he? It's all vitamins anyway. What a thrill it will be for him to visit Mr. Wonka's factory. We're just as proud as can be. What a revolting woman, said Grandma Josephine. And what a repulsive boy, said Grandma Georgina. Only 4 golden tickets left, said Grandpa George. I wonder who'll get those. And now the whole country, indeed, the whole world seemed suddenly to be caught up in a mad chocolate buying spree. Everybody searching frantically for those precious remaining tickets. Fully grown women were seen going into sweet shops and buying 10 Wonka candy bars at a time, then tearing off the wrapper on the spot and peering eagerly underneath for a glint of golden paper. Children were taking hammers and smashing their piggy banks and running out to the shops with handfuls of money. In one city, a famous gangster robbed a bank of $5,000 and spent the whole lot on candy bars that same afternoon. When the police entered his house to arrest him, they found him sitting on the floor amidst mountains of candy, ripping off the wrappers with a blade of a long dagger. In far-off Russia, a woman named Charlotte Russe claimed to have found the second ticket, but it turned out to be a clever fake. In England, the famous scientist Professor Foulbody invented a machine which would tell you at once, without opening the wrapper of a candy bar, whether or not there was a golden ticket hidden underneath it. The machine had a mechanical arm that shot out with tremendous force and grabbed hold of anything that had the slightest bit of gold in it. And for a moment it looked like the answer to everything. But unfortunately, while the professor was showing off the machine to the public at the candy counter of a large department store, the mechanical arm shot out and made a grab for the gold filling in the back tooth of a duchess who was standing nearby. There was an ugly scene, and the machine was smashed by the crowd. Suddenly, on the day before Charlie Bucket's birthday, the newspapers announced that the second golden ticket had been found. The lucky person was a small girl called Veruca Salt, who lived with her rich parents in a great city far away. Once again, Mr. Bucket's evening newspaper carried a picture of the finder. She was sitting between her beaming father and mother in the living room of their house, waving a golden ticket above her head and grinning from ear to ear. Veruca's father, Mr. Salt, had eagerly explained to the newspapermen exactly how the ticket was found. "You see, fellers," he had said, "as soon as my little girl told me she simply had to have one of those golden tickets, I went out into the town and started buying up all the Wonka candy bars I could lay my hands on, thousands of them. I must have bought hundreds of thousands. Then I had them loaded onto trucks and sent directly to my own factory. I'm in the peanut business, you see, and I've got about 100 women working for me over at my joint, shelling peanuts for roasting and salting. That's what they do all day long, those women. They sit there shelling peanuts. So I says to them, "Okay, girls," I says, "from now on, you can stop shelling peanuts and start shelling the wrappers off these crazy candy bars instead." And they did. I had every worker in the place yanking the paper off those bars of chocolate, full speed ahead from morning till night. But 3 days went by and we had no luck. Oh, it was terrible. My little Veruca got more and more upset each day, and every time I went home she would scream at me, "Where's my golden ticket? I want my golden ticket!" And she would lie for hours on the floor, kicking and yelling in the most disturbing ways. Well, sir, I just hated to see my little girl feeling unhappy like that. So I vowed I would keep up the search until I got what she wanted. Then suddenly, on the evening of the 4th day, one of my women workers yelled, "I've got it! A golden ticket!" And I said, "Give it to me quick!" And she did. And I rushed it home and gave it to my darling Veruca. And now she's all smiles. And we have a happy home once again. "That's even worse than the fat boy," said Grandma Josephine. "She needs a real good spanking," said Grandma Georgina. "I don't think that girl's father played it quite fair. Grandpa, do you?" Charlie murmured. "He spoils her," Grandpa Joe said. "And no good can ever come from spoiling a child like that, Charlie. You mark my words." "Come to bed, my darling," said Charlie's mother. "Tomorrow's your birthday, don't forget that. So I expect you'll be up early to open your present." "A Wonka candy bar!" cried Charlie. "It is a Wonka candy bar, isn't it?" "Yes, my love," his mother said. "Of course it is." "Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if I found the third golden ticket inside it?" Charlie said. "Bring it in here when you get it," Grandpa Joe said. "Then we can all watch you taking off the wrapper." Okay, so let's talk about what we have read so far. So chapter 5. All right, very quickly, remember, Charlie is very poor, and it's important to remember this. He has no money, no extra money to spend on things like candy bars. Okay, but he loves chocolate, and he lives in the town where Willy Wonka has his chocolate factory. And Willy Wonka invents amazing chocolates. He also has secret workers working in his factory now. And now he's opening up his factory for a tour. People can come inside his factory and look around and see all of the wonders inside. He's doing this by giving a golden ticket. Now, a ticket, as you know, is just like a ticket, a movie ticket or something. But these are golden tickets made out of gold, even more special. And the tickets are hidden underneath the wrappers. And the wrapping here, the wrapping of the candy bar or wrapper, a candy wrapper, is what goes around the chocolate. So you got the chocolate bar, a golden ticket, and then the wrapper hiding it inside. So you got to open it up and look and see. Ew. Ugh. It makes Grandma sick just to think about what people would do and all of this chocolate. Ugh. It makes her ill. All right, we get this great word, glistening. Watch. Ding. See that little ding? That's the glistening, right? To glisten, to sparkle and shine. So Uh, let's see here. The golden ticket would be glistening inside, sparkling and shining. All right. So what do you think? Is Charlie going to find the golden ticket? Does he have any hope? No, of course he has no hope. He's broke, dirt poor, no money. He gets one candy bar a year, only one on his birthday. And there are people all around the world with a lot of money to buy a lot of chocolate bars. So I don't think he has much hope. All right. So, quick review. Mr. Wonka is having a contest, and 5 lucky children will be allowed to go into the factory. The ticket is in a gold. The ticket in is a golden ticket hidden inside a candy wrapper, which takes us to chapter 6, the first 2 finders. What do you think is going to be in this chapter? Okay, it's about Augustus Gloop, and it says his face was like a monstrous ball of dough, which is kind of funny, right? His face is like a big old monstrous ball of dough. When we make bread, we make a ball of dough, and then he's got these tiny little beady eyes. Actually, it's described to eyes as like little raisins, but anyway. And then the funny thing is that his hobby is eating. Now, hobbies are different things we do. So maybe you like to play golf, or maybe you like to read as a hobby, or photography as a hobby. Maybe you like to sing and dance as your hobby. Woohoo! Or make things, do woodwork or ceramics, pottery, different things. But eating as a hobby, I don't think that counts. That's what he does. All right. A hooligan is a troublemaker. Now think about this. His mother says, "Oh, he likes to eat, but at least he's not a troublemaker." Right? School's over. All right. So the truth is that Augustus Gloop has some problems. He eats way too much. Okay, this is kind of a funny story. A duchess would be a very rich and powerful woman. Duchess, probably married to a duke. And a gold filling is, in our teeth when we get cavities and they fix it. And so this Professor Foulbody invents a machine, and you could imagine a woman like this in a candy shop. She's prim and proper. And the machine goes and pulls out her gold tooth. Oh, you can bet he's in trouble. Kind of a funny, silly little story there. All right. Her parents are beaming. Veruca Salt's parents are beaming, these big smiles. And when we think of a beam of light and we smile brightly, it's like a flashlight. Okay, these big old smiles beaming. So her parents are just beaming. They're so proud. But this daughter screams at her daddy and she says, "Daddy, I want it now. Give it to me now." She sounds kind of like a brat. He does all of this work for her and she doesn't seem very satisfied or very happy. She needs a spanking. That's what Grandma Georgina says. She needs a mommy and daddy to say, "Stop being a brat." Right? Spanking. Right there on the rear end. Right on the tushy. I don't know. Did you get spanked as a kid? I got spanked as a kid. All right. So, first 2 people find the golden tickets. We got Augustus Gloop and Veruca Salt. So, what do you think about these 2 people? All right, ladies and gentlemen, those are chapters 5 and 6. Thanks for paying attention.